Man, we are in a series right now. It's called We Over Me. And how many of y'all have enjoyed the series so far? You guys have enjoyed it? This is actually, you guys have enjoyed it that much? How many of y'all have actually really enjoyed the series We Over Me? There we go, that's better. Man, it's been a fun series. I know we've talked about a lot, and we've actually been in it for 6 weeks. And for those of you who haven't been here for very long, or maybe this is your first time coming, thank you so much for joining us. And I know Colin said this about the United. Really, like, this is a place where you should feel like you can belong no matter what. Our heart is that no matter what side of the tracks you come from, no matter what your past looks like, no matter what you did yesterday, last year, no matter what you're going to do tomorrow, this is a place you belong at. And whether you believe what we believe or not, we believe that you belong right here. And so we're thankful that you're here. And we've been in a series called We Over Me. And I'm not going to talk too long because I want these guys to share some of their insight, some of their wisdom, and give you guys some real life practical examples of how community has really shaped their lives individually and even their experience when it comes to walking with Jesus. And so we've been, again, in a series for the last 6 weeks. This is the last week. And next week, we're actually starting a series on the Holy Spirit, which is going to be, yeah, come on. It's going to be fun. So we're starting that next week, but with the last installment of our series, We Over Me, I really felt like it was just right, and it was fitting to have some of your peers up here. And they really do have some amazing things to share. And so I really want to encourage you guys, if you have a notebook, why don't you wave your notebooks around really quickly. If you don't have a notebook, wave your phone around. We all know you got a notepad on there, so don't act like you can't take notes. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. If you don't have a phone with you, then you obviously don't live in this dimension or in this century, and that's okay. It's all right. I'm just kidding. I actually didn't get a phone till, no, I lied. I got a phone when I was in like 8th grade. Do we have any 8th graders in here, by the way? Any 8th graders? Sydney Pack, you were graduating senior. 8th graders? No, okay. We're in the process of move-ups and stuff. And so this is also the last night for a lot of the graduating seniors, which I'm going to talk about a little bit at the end before we go any further and before I get way too far along and we get way off track. But I was just curious if there were any 8th graders in here. So we're going to get right into this thing, though. They have a lot to share, and I want to give them the stage and give them the platform, give them an opportunity to really respond to some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. But we're going to talk again about friendships, community, relationships. And if you haven't listened to any of the previous weeks, I want to encourage you to go on YouTube and check it out. Go listen to some of the stuff that we talked about in the past, in the recent weeks. And I believe that you're going to be encouraged by it. But we're going to start off with this first question. And this is a really, really deep and theological question. Why do you love the United? I know, isn't that like super theological, really deep, cut and dry? Why do you love the United? And we can actually start with Michael. I just want to make sure this is on for you, bro, because I didn't do that service of turning it on. There you go, I got you. Sure. Yeah. Do we only have one mic? Do we have another mic? Colin, perfect. We'll get up for Colin. Thanks, bro. It's not on. Hey, I'll turn this one on for you too. There you go. So first question, and we'll just go down the road. We'll go guy, girl. But why do you love the United?
So for me, the real reason that I love the United is just the people here at the United. Yeah. So it's just like a lot of great friendships come out of the United and out of this entire group and out of this ministry. And those friendships really like plant that seed of God in your life. And it keeps you accountable, it keeps you on track. Yeah. So these friendships that are created and the people here that are so nice and so great at the United, that's the reason that I love the United.
It's great, man. It's really good. Leanne?
Same with Mike. I definitely love the relationships and the people and the friends. I've made so many friends here just being involved. And I definitely think that I love being able to come in on a Wednesday night because during the week, it's right dead in the middle of the week when things are hard. Maybe you're going through schoolwork and you can just come in here and let loose. And I just love that about it.
Yeah, it's really good. Caleb?
I love the United for one because it's awesome, right?
Come on.
And for two, like Michael said, all the friends and relationships and people that you get to meet here. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, for me, it's just such a homey environment. I mean, anyone that comes in here, it just feels so homey. And you just meet so many new faces and talk to people who maybe you've never talked to before. And it's so cool just to meet so many new people and still feel at home.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, bro?
Yeah, I love the messages. I feel like the United is one of the only places around where you can come to hear such awesome inspirational and challenging yet uplifting messages. I also love the culture, so I feel like this is a place where I feel a lot more comfortable being able to invite people from my school who I know normally wouldn't go to church. I can invite them out to here knowing that there's a chance of them coming because it's not normal church.
Right, absolutely. That's really good, man. Rachel?
So pretty much what everybody said too, the atmosphere is just insane here. Like the amount of people who just are here for the love of God and that we're all worshiping together, you know, Jackson, Glen Oak, Hoover, Lake, and every school around, we can come together on Wednesday nights and just share the love of God, and definitely the atmosphere, and of course, I mean, worship is just insane. I feel like I'm in a rock concert. This is like Hillsong up in here. It's awesome. So yeah.
Can I actually shout out Gabe and Lexi? That was amazing. You guys did a phenomenal job tonight. The whole band, everybody that was a part of it did phenomenal, but Gabe and Lexi, great job of really just setting up a moment where we could all really enter into the presence of God. So thank you guys so much, wherever you're at. Are you out there? Go ahead and stand up really quickly. Gabe and Lexi. There's Gabe. Yeah. Love you guys, seriously. I didn't get to do this at the beginning, but I'm going to do it now. Everyone stand up really quickly. Not you guys, you sit. We're doing introductions because it's only right if we do introductions, right? Because some of you guys probably don't know everyone on this platform right now, but I just got to say this, there's some phenomenal leaders, individuals, people, but you guys are going to get really hype. And here's the thing, while they're talking, you guys need to respond as best you can. So you need to come up with whatever phrase, whatever you got to say. And it'll make more sense whenever I say their name. So you can say, "Amen, Angeli," or you can say something like, "Hey, preach it, Bishop." Hey, his name's Bishop Brown. Bishop Brown. I wanted to see what he was going to say whenever I said it. But hey, over here we got my man Tyler Sontag. Then we got next to him Caleb Bishop Brown. My man from Deerfield Farms, Michael Bolovich. And over here on my left we got Leanne James. Angeli Armentrout. Amen for Armentrout. And Rachel Hardy. Come on. Go ahead. Get rowdy, get psyched, get pumped, get amped. You guys can sit. And now we're going to jump into it. Sorry, I couldn't get going unless we got our blood pumping a little bit. And unless I actually properly introduced Bishop Brown. You know what I'm saying? We had a conversation before. I'm like, "Hey, would you mind if I called you that?" And he goes, "Bro, don't call me that. I'll get really upset if you do." So I had to. It's because we're family and we love each other. But bro, you're gonna bring some fuego tonight, so that's all that matters. First question. This one's actually gonna be for Tyler, and I just want you to kind of unpack this a little bit. Can you describe a moment when a friend walked alongside you and just lifted you up?
Yeah, so a few months ago, I was going through a period of extreme doubt. I was doubting my abilities, my calling, my faith, pretty much everything. And it sort of stemmed from mistakes that I was really beating myself up over that I had made. But at that point, I was powerless to change anything about it. And I know that I'm extremely blessed and grateful to have the friends that I have because they were there with me to just lift me up throughout that whole period. And I've been through struggles with friends and I've been through struggles without friends, and it's so much better when you have someone there to talk to. Right. One of the things that really helped me was just being able to listen to them talk about their own issues, and that was able to erase the sort of image of a perfect Christian that I can get in my mind, and it helped me realize that we all have doubts and we all go through struggles and the same sort of stuff a lot of the time. So, and the other thing that really helped me was having friends there who were able to notice my strengths and to point those out to me when I was so caught up with my weaknesses and the things that I was, all the bad in my life. I was so distracted that I didn't realize those things. And so that's something that I've been challenging myself with lately, because it's so important that we have those friends who notice your strengths and actually not only notice them, but take the time to point them out and let you know that you have them. And I've been trying to, be that friend more in my life too, and actually challenge myself to reach out like that as well.
That's really good. That's great. Yeah, you guys can hear that. That was great, man. Next question. So this one is actually for Leanne. How do you navigate relationships with people that don't go to church?
So actually about a year ago. I've been working at Cracker Barrel for about a year now.
Amen, Cracker Barrel.
Yes, but the job isn't hard. I sit in the back in the window and I scoop coleslaw and I get the bread. So that's that's what I do. I set up the trays.
Hey, someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
But it was just hard. Like, I started working there and it was cool. It was like my first real job, and I was so thankful for that job. But the atmosphere there was so negative. I was in the window and I'm hearing people talk about how they're atheists and they don't believe in God, and they're making fun of people and the families who are saying grace during dinner, and it's just hard listening to that stuff. And so every time I go into work, it's just, I know if I'm in a good mood, then I'm probably gonna be in a bad mood after work, because it's just really hard listening to them, and people are arguing and fighting, and it's just a lot going to work. So I was like, God, I don't want to work here anymore. Please, I need a new job. But I started praying about it, and I asked God to just, I started thinking about work differently. I started thinking about, you know what, I want to be here. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to have a good attitude. I'm going to be positive, even though they're always negative. These people they say that they don't believe in God all the time. They talk about how they don't want to go to church, and I continue to invite them out to church. I continue to stay positive when they're giving me attitude or they're being mean. I respond back being nice, because God, through me, they see God, the kindness and the goodness of God through me and my actions. So I just make sure that with people who don't believe in God, I try not to pressure them or say anything. I'll invite them out to church, but that they start getting offensive and frustrated. So I just make sure that I realize I don't have to say anything, that God just works through me in my life and how I act. And I don't have to say anything to show them who God is. And I just think that through Cracker Barrel, I've learned a lot. Sorry, I didn't know how to end that, so.
That's so good, yeah. Give it up. And I love how you even brought that up, how your response in those situations, it just has to be loving them unconditionally. And I think for us, like, we should always know that the only thing we can control is our response. We can't control what people do to us. We can't control how people act. The only thing we can control is our response, and that's it. But I love how the Bible even talks about how whenever our response really is love, it becomes like, and the Bible literally says this, so for those of you who say that your Bible's boring, I'll have to look at you and question that it's like heaping hot coals on someone's head. And the whole illustration isn't that you're supposed to dump coals on people's heads. And if you do that, then God bless your soul. But our response when it's love, man, it takes everything off of ourselves. Just like she was talking about at Cracker Barrel, whenever she has somebody that says something mean or ill-fitting or it just isn't right, it's mean, it's angry, it's vicious. When our response is just love, really we're giving people an opportunity to see the love of Jesus through us. And that's what she does every time she's at Cracker Barrel. And that's what we should all seek to embody and possess as well. Because I know for me, when someone cuts me off in traffic, that ain't the truth. I'm just kidding. That only happens occasionally. Can we be real though? Like, when someone cuts you off in traffic, sometimes you have to like bite your tongue. Let's be honest. But this is the living and active word of God. You gotta bite that tongue. Well, when you do, and you just pray for them, man, if you feel liberated. And I think that's a great example. It really is. Thank you for sharing, Leanne. Who do we got next? Angeli, how have you balanced relationships with people in church and people out of church?
Well, first off, I think it's important to be friends with everyone, all groups of people, not just your group of friends, but everyone, all types of people, which you learn a lot about that here. There's so many different types of people, and I think it's just awesome. But
Amen.
also to have boundaries with people that you're friends with at school, because a lot of them don't believe in God. It's a sad truth, but it's true. And to just make sure you're not getting involved in the party scene, and to just know that you have convictions in your heart to be like, okay, I'm not gonna do that, because I know that that is a conviction for me. Maybe not for you, but for me, that's a conviction. I'm not gonna go to parties and drink and do drugs, because I'm a Christian. As a Christ follower, we're called to be not in the world, not of the world, but in the world. There we go.
There it is.
And I mean, like, that just means that we're different than everyone else, that we're not following what everyone is doing, but we're different. And Jesus was very different in the Bible. I mean, he would sit with everyone, though. Like, you saw that all throughout the Bible, that he would sit with sinners, and people would, sorry, my voice.
Can we get her some water?
I have some, we're good. Yeah, but like the Pharisees would make fun of him and be like, why are you sitting with people who sin? But God has called us to reach out to those people and love those people. And we all sin, but to not condemn them if they sin in a different way than we do. And I would also say to nurture the relationships that you do have in church, because they're very important, and it's very rare to have strong relationships outside of church. And to have such strong relationships in church is very important. And I would also say that you should know that God has placed you in a specific place for a specific purpose. Right. And like for me, in my algebra class, I was sitting next to this girl who I never knew. And I was like, I wish I was sitting next to one of my friends. But she ended up becoming like one of my really good friends. And I just think it's really cool. I mean, she's an atheist, but I was able to just show love to her and not condemn her, and just be kind to her. And she texted me at the end of the school year, like a few days ago, and she was like, thank you for being so kind. And I just thank you for being such a great, well, I don't remember what she said, but she just said something like that. And not to like boast about that or anything, but I just think it's really cool that God uses us in different ways, and that he can maybe use us in our workplace, like Cracker Barrel, to be the light. Like, God calls us to be the light in the dark places. Right. And school and work might be that dark place for you where you're the only Christ follower, and maybe you're ashamed that you are, but be bold in your faith. And if people make fun of you, people make fun of you. Like, I've had people make fun of me, and I'm just like, okay, like, all right. Like, yeah. So, yeah, just know that God has placed you in a specific place for a specific purpose. And, yeah.
It's great. It's really good. Yeah, you guys can give it up. That was a great response. And if I could add anything to that, I would say that, I think that's phenomenal. It's so true that you have to be so mindful of the time and the capacity that you give to certain relationships. That's the truth for any one of us. And I think it was Brittany in one of the weeks that we had him on the panel and stuff, and we've said it for years at our church, but it's so much easier for someone to pull you down than for you to pull them back up. And I think that the reality is we just need to be mindful and cognitive of how much time we're giving to some of those relationships that could in turn cause us to be pulled in more than us reeling people in ourselves. We just have to be mindful of that. And so keeping a balance at all times, because the other side of the coin is we're called to reach those that are far. We're called to reach those that are broken and lost, because we ourselves know that we were the same way. And honestly, for a lot of us, if we can be really honest, we're still in process. We're figuring this thing out. And so for us, we need to always realize that, hey, man, like, we've been given the gift. We've been given hope. We've been given peace. We've been given joy. And so those people are still our priority. But we need to realize that the only way we're charged and the only way we're refreshed, the only way that we find the confidence and boldness that we need is in the people that are going to give us that so that we can go. And I love how the Bible even talks about, and Jesus, whenever he sent out the disciples, he sent them out in pairs of two. And I think that there's something to that. He sent them out in pairs of two. Why? Because he didn't want them to go alone, and they needed the company of another individual. So just being mindful of that whenever we are trying to be a vessel of God's choosing, and really go and occupy our street and occupy it with grace and let people see the grace of Jesus through us. Just being mindful that, man, it's so easy for us to be pulled in and pulled down rather than pulling someone up at the same time. It's so much easier to do that. But whenever we go in numbers and whenever we understand and know, hey, this is where I find the energy, this is where I find the passion and enthusiasm to do it with people that are really going to do it alongside me. That's the big difference. But I loved your response. It's awesome. All right, Caleb Bishop Brown. Go ahead. Man, I'm just gassing you up, bro. What does it require to maintain a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship?
Okay, well, I think to maintain a healthy relationship, you first have to choose good, solid friends, and make sure that they're gonna help grow you as a person and as well as in your faith. And propel you in your future also, like to propel you to become who that person is that you want to become in the future, because they're gonna affect you and change the way you are and stuff. So, but to maintain that, wait, what was the question? Required to maintain a healthy relationship, maintain a healthy relationship? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
You got it, bro.
one thing that would be good for that is to be the friend that you want all of your friends to be to you.
That's great.
So just be a good friend, and let me see here. Let me get So, and then the second thing would be to be quick to forgive, and like Josh said a couple weeks ago, don't let something petty become something permanent. And then the third and last thing is to keep each other accountable and keep all of your friends held under high standards, but not placed under unrealistic expectations.
Right.
So.
Sure. That's great. Give it up for that. That's amazing, man. Love it. Yeah, come on. All right, Rachel. What is one thing that has helped you in building healthy relationships?
So one huge thing for me has been communication. I know a lot of people say it all the time that communicating, is a huge part of a relationship and a friendship, and that is so true. Because if you did something wrong to your friend, and your friend is being mean and distant, and you don't know what's going on, it's because you guys aren't communicating. I don't know what I did, or I don't know what she did to me, but I'm gonna be mean to her. And I'm not going to tell her why, because she should figure it out. That's not what a good, healthy relationship is, and communicating is a huge, huge part. And I mean, even for me, I'm still learning how to communicate. We're all not great communicators, but communication is something that I'm still learning, and that I'm going to continue learning when I get older. And then I would think the second thing for me, with building a healthy relationship, is encouragement. Encourage your friends. Encourage your friends. Hold them accountable for things, and have them hold you accountable for them. As an example, a couple weeks ago, I just wasn't feeling I just didn't feel like I had a lot of friends. I was just feeling very lonely. And I had one friend who was like, "Hey, you want to come to Bible study with me tonight?" And I was like, yeah, I would love to come to Bible study with you. And I met a couple of new friends that I've never known, and hey guys, and I love them, and I am just continuing to build those relationships with them. And then another instant was, I was in my school's musical this past year, and it was the curtains were closed, and we were ready to do Act 2. And I had a friend, she was my hype woman, she was getting me ready because I had to go sing a solo, and she was just hyping me up backstage, and just continued to encourage me. And same with, encouraging your friends to, hey, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts, let's read our Bible. Hey, let's worship together in the car on the way to the mall. Just simple communications and stuff like that is a great thing for a healthy relationship. And like I said, I'm still working on a healthy relationship, but still working on communication and encouragement. But those two definitely have been a huge part in a real healthy relationship for me. So yeah.
That's great. So moral of the story, get you a goon that'll gas you up. That's it. Get you a goon that'll gas you up. I love it. Hey, there they are, right there. Hey, but honestly, that is so important. You gotta have people that you would consider to be your cheerleaders. And you gotta be a cheerleader for your friends. We need more people in the world that are more inclined to encourage rather than tear down. You don't have to go very far to find a friend that's gonna pull you down and make you feel like you're lesser, make you feel like you're invaluable. You don't have to go very far to find that, but it's the really precious relationships that you find and discover with the people that they really do just want to encourage you, lift you up, want God's best for you, man. Those are the relationships you should always want to cultivate and always want to continue to be a part of and be engaged in. So that's great. Love that. Last one, man. Michael Bolovich. This is the anchor right here. He's going to anchor us. He's going to bring us home. So how do you manage the pressure of your peers, Michael?
So for me, there's really two kinds of peer pressure. There's good peer pressure, and those are your friends that will continue to lead you down your path and stand with you in your path with God. Yeah. And then there's bad peer pressure, and those are the friends who will lead you away from your path with God, right, or off your path with God. And so I'm going to talk about good peer pressure first. Uh-huh. So as far as good peer pressure, you need to embrace that good peer pressure. Sometimes it can be very scary whenever all you know is these friends that you've had your entire life, these friends that are leading you off your path with God. And it's hard sometimes to step off of that and to go the other direction and to seek those friends that are going to be that, or source that good peer pressure for you. You know, so that's the main thing with good peer pressure, is just to embrace it. It may be scary sometimes. It may be, you know, a step of faith, and that's what God's really pulling out of you right there. Is He's pushing you towards maybe people, these good friends that are going to have, you know, lead you and give you this good peer pressure that is going to be a positive thing in your life. But then you're also going to have friends who will lead you away from your path with God, and that's where the bad peer pressure comes in. So as far as bad peer pressure goes, for me, what I put is just to eliminate it. So I'm not saying that you have to, you know, get rid of those friends or completely, you know, disengage yourself with those people, because it's important, you know, just like you said, to keep those relationships with people, because you're in a certain place for a certain reason, you know. So God may use you to connect with those people and lead them closer to Him. So as far as that, when I say eliminate it, I don't mean completely eliminate your relationships with them, but set boundaries, you know, with those friends, and like how much time you're spending with them. Like me personally, I have friends at school that they're on my football team. I see them at school, but that they were just giving me bad peer pressure when I was with them, and I didn't like the person that I was because of that. So in order to, you know, stay on my path with God and find that good peer pressure, I just don't hang out with those people outside of school anymore. You know, I set that boundary that I'm clearly not, maybe I'm not making good decisions whenever I'm with these people, things that God wouldn't be proud of, that I'm not proud of. And so I eliminated them out of school. And I still see them, and they're still my friends, and I still have classes with them and spend time with them, but I just set that boundary that I'm not going to spend time with them outside of school. You know, I'm going to spend time with those people and create new relationships with people who are giving me good peer pressure. And so that's just what, as far as good and bad peer pressure, that's how I handle peer pressure.
It's good, man. It's really good. You guys give it up for Michael. Man, I love how you worded that, because I think sometimes, and honestly, like, I think we're all guilty of this. We think the word pressure is bad, and we've connotated it in a really negative way. Peer pressure that leads us to compromise our convictions. Obviously, that's not good, for sure. Just like Michael was talking about, you got to give a lot of boundaries for that. But I think that there is something about, like, the people that really are walking alongside you. Here's what I do know about relationships. Relationships are always going to be uncomfortable. Why? Because we're all imperfect. None of us have figured it all out, and they come with their own quirks and baggage, and it comes with its own set of imperfections and things that we do incorrectly, or things that we're just not great at. And so in each relationship, it's so unique, and because they're so unique, there's always going to be resistance, but sometimes there's healthy pressure that comes from relationships that cause you to grow. And so I love how you even said that, man. How you said there's good pressure and there's bad pressure. Obviously, bad pressure, we should resist that. You know, we shouldn't lean into that. We should resist that. We shouldn't step into unhealthy and toxic relationships with people that just try and bear us down and drag us down with them. But at the same time, there's something about the people that we walk alongside, the people that journey with us, that really cause us to go to another level, that cause us to continue to pursue Jesus in a healthy way. And I think that there really is something about good pressure. So I love how you put that, man. I think that's great. And honestly, can we give it up for all of these guys? Come on, can we give it up for these guys up here? Yeah, go ahead. You can stand up. Shout them down. Come on. You guys are amazing. Honestly, I love each and every one of you guys. You did phenomenal. Thank you so much for saying yes and being up here with me. Otherwise, I've been here by myself, and nobody likes to hear me talk anymore. They'd rather hear from you guys anyway. I'm just kidding. But in all honesty, there is something about hearing from your peers and about hearing from your fellow classmates and just students in general. So I think that, man, you guys brought so much wisdom, and I honestly feel like I've benefited a lot as a result. So thank you guys so much.